Hi boys and girls, how are you today? I hope all of you are feeling good and enjoying your weekend as we've moved into March. Can you imagine that? Moved into March. And, I saw flocks of geese going over. Yesterday I saw two big flocks. Today I couldn't see them, but I heard them and they were flying over, heading north. They weren't going south, they were heading north. And that's a good sign that spring is coming. And my horses were out looking for some grass. I don't think they found much, but they were out yesterday on the field and just enjoying the sun. They like to stand in the sun. Sometimes they lay on the ground because the ground gets warm and they enjoy that. So I think spring is going to be coming very soon. And of course we're going to go on daylight saving time here in a week or so. So all of those things are signs that we're getting closer to spring, and that means the April showers and the May flowers and daffodils will be climbing up and all kinds of signs that spring is here. Anyway, today we're back at our storybook of the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse. And we're going to meet the horse today. Now, the horse is bigger than everybody. Matter of fact, the horse is bigger than all three of the others combined. This is a big horse. But you're going to find this horse is a gentle giant. We'll even encounter that today as we meet the horse. But we're going to pick up where we kind of stopped off here with the boy, the fox, and the mole. They're sitting up in the tree, out on this limb. They've sat there a lot to look out at the wild. They call it the wild. And that can be scary because you can't always see what's out there in the wild. But they're sitting there looking at it, and the boy says, "Sometimes I feel lost." Now, he's not lost as though he doesn't know where home, but he kind of feels like he's just not where he belongs or where he feels comfortable. And the mole says, "Me too, me too. But we love you, and that brings you home." In other words, being loved is what changes a house to a home, or a limb on a tree to a couch. So they're kind of just sitting there enjoying each other, the boy in the middle, the fox on one end, and the mole on the other, and it just feels like you belong. And then the boy said, or the mole says, "I think everyone is just trying to get home." And again, you see the picture of the fox, he's carrying the mole, and the boy's walking along beside him. Remember last week, the boy gave the fox a big hug. You remember why that happened? It was because the mole fell in the water. Wasn't being careful necessarily, or may have slipped, and he can't swim. And the fox came over and scooped him up on his nose. Now he could have scooped him up in his mouth and eaten him, but he scooped him up on his nose and brought him up to the dry land. And that really was a very special thing for the boy. It was very special for the mole, but the boy didn't lose his friend, and that was important to him. Well, all right, they're walking down the lane here. You can see trees on both sides of them. And then, what do you know? There's the horse. And he says, "Hello." Hello. Yeah, he's big, isn't he? And look at him compared to the others. Oh my goodness, he's a beautiful horse, isn't he? I think it's a he, but it could be a she. The story doesn't really tell us if it's a girl or a boy. But the three of them say hello back to the horse because they like what they're seeing. Now, here's some pictures that you're probably going to have trouble seeing, but it's all different things. And the boy, the mole, you don't so much see the fox. He's right there between the legs of the horse. But the boy and the mole get up on the back of the horse, and they're standing up on the horse. Of course, for the mole to stand up is not much, but here's the boy standing up. I never stood up on the back of a horse. That would be scary. I remember seeing people do it at the circus, and with the horse even running. And they were standing on the back, and they would jump through a hoop as the horse ran around, and they'd land right back on the horse's back again. That was amazing to me how they could do that. But here they are, and there's the boy standing pretty up on the shoulder. Call him the withers on the horse. He's standing up there, and here he is laying down on his back and just holding the mole up in the air. And they're just having a great time with that horse. Now then he says this, the boy says this: doing nothing with friends is never doing nothing, is it? In other words, if you're just having a good time with your friends, that's not doing nothing. That's doing something very special. And the mole says, you're right. It is not doing nothing. It is something special. Now, I want you to look. It may be hard to see here, but you see this horse? And there's the boy. Now, if you look at that, the boy's body and his leg look like the horse's leg as it goes down. It's the artist, the author, drew it so that there would be that bond between the boy and the horse that was like they were the same creature. And the fox is right there in the mole, and they're looking up and they're saying, wow, this is great. This is fun. Now, on this next page, whoa, here they are running. Now, I love to gallop on my horses, and it's exciting because the wind blows, but my goodness, look how they are going, and the boy's hanging on to the horse's mane. That's the hair on the neck, and they're running like mad. Now, of course, the fox is running along with them. You can see him running there, but what I want you to look at is kind of hard to see, but if you look right up here, it's not trees in the background. That's a musical notation. That's music. He's saying riding on this horse is like listening to the best music or being a part of the best music ever. And then if you look real close, and it's going to be hard for you to see, some of the notes look like hearts. How about that? Remember where we saw the heart before? And it was because the fox had saved the mole. And that was, and down here is another heart, and they're having a great time. Now, as they're going along here, when I go to this next page, and uh-oh, what happened there? They jumped across that stream. You remember they were running beside the stream back here, and they jumped. Let me get back here to this page. Yeah, they're going beside the stream, and they jump, and the boy falls off the horse. He's going off the horse in the water. And then the horse says to him, and this is a very pretty picture that the author did. Very pretty. The horse is out there swimming. Comes out because he was leaping across. He goes into the water and gets the boy. You remember who else went into the water to save somebody? That's right, the fox. The fox went in and saved the mole. And now the horse is going in to get to the boy. And the boy can grab on to the horse's mane. And he'll say, so the horse says, you fell, but I got you. In other words, he's saying, I'm going to be right there for you no matter what happens. And that's a great thing, to feel that way, to have somebody there when you need them. And then the horse says, remember, these animals really can't talk to each other, but they do in our pretend story, just as they do in some of your pretend stories. But the horse says, everyone is a bit scared. That big horse gets scared? Yeah, even big horses can get scared. But we are less scared together. How about that? You know, sometimes as a young boy, your age maybe, or younger even, I would be scared at night sometimes going to bed. I'd be scared. We got a nightlight when I was very young. We didn't even have electricity in the house. We got that later. But we didn't have any outlets. We just had overhead light with a pull string, and we had those. But in time, we got outlets, the little boxes on the wall where you could plug in a radio or a light, and we got some night lights, little night lights. And I felt much better when there was a night light. But everybody gets a little scared, even big people, even horses. There can be a lot of things that can scare us. Parents sometimes get scared because their children get sick. I had a granddaughter that had COVID. Can you imagine that? She's only a couple of months old, and she had COVID. Her whole family had COVID, as a matter of fact. But she had COVID, and I was really concerned about her and her safety because she's only a few months old, but she's doing better. And I felt so good, especially when my daughter sent us a picture of her smiling and playing with her toys and screaming a happy scream and all of that. Oh, yeah. So all of us get scared. But if we're together, that helps us to feel safe. And that's a good thing to know. Well, we're going to pick up with the horse a little bit later. If you had to name the horse, what would you name it? Would you name the horse Speedy? Because that horse could run fast. Or would you name the horse Hope? Because that raised up. Remember the boy said, sometimes I feel lost? And boy, he didn't look lost on the back of that horse, did he? He was riding and having a great time, and so was the mole too. They were having a great. Remember what the mole said? When I really get concerned, I focus. And the boy said, what do you focus on? You remember what the mole said? Cake. I focus on cake. Well, sometimes there's better things to focus on than cake. But that's not a bad thing. I know that, I guess it was yesterday or was it today? I can't remember. I gotten up and I was hungry. And I knew there were ice cream sandwiches in the fridge. Because Grandma, my wife, had gotten them for our grandchildren. And I think it was this morning because my grandson had one this morning. And that put it into my mind. And I came in after I'd been out working some. And I said, I'm going to get an ice cream sandwich. And it was good. So I can focus on that too. But there's other things like the horse suggested. Being together is a good thing. And you think of times this week when you're going to be together with family members, or maybe with schoolmates or friends or grandparents, and think about how good that feels to be together. And sometimes we can be sad, and maybe a grandparent or a friend can cheer us up a little bit, or maybe you can do that to somebody else. You can think of somebody that might be a little sad, maybe they've been sick, or maybe some difficult things have happened to them, and you can call them up and say, I was thinking about you, Grandma, or I was thinking about you, Aunt whatever Aunt may be, and just say, I just wanted to call to say hi. And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. All right, well, we're going to sing Have Faith, Hope, and Charity, because that's what our theme song has been. And then we'll have a prayer together, okay? Let's sing first. Have faith, hope, and charity, because that's the way to live successfully. How do I know? The Bible tells me so. Do good to your enemies, and the blessed Lord you'll sure to please. How do I know? The Bible tells me so. So don't worry about tomorrow, just be real good today. The Lord is right beside you, and He'll guide you all the way. You must have faith, hope, and charity. That's the way to live successfully. How do I know? The Bible tells me so. All right, we'll pray together. Father, thank you for this day that you've given to us. Thank you for the friends that help us to not feel lost and lonely or scared. Sometimes we do feel scared. And we thank you for those people and for you, God, who remind us that you're always with us, even when we can't see you. You care about us. Thank you for that in Jesus' name. Amen. See you next week, boys and girls. Bye-bye.